So much to talk about. Yet, no one sitting around by my fire. Howdy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to the channel formerly known as The Lost Begotten. Where the ongoing Google-induced tragedy of my suppression is in full swing. You see, I had warned about one of the major objectives of Russia's attack on America being their dominance in the Middle East. Just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on that being another thing that I was specifically correct about. And how Donald Trump was designed to play a key instrumental part in that. Because Donald Trump has a surprising, isn't it surprising, Fox Newsies? As if anyone who watched Fox News in America would ever be allowed to hear my words. Nothing on Fox News would make sense anymore if they were allowed to hear my words. Just as nothing they read or hear on these Shilliverse and different pseudo-conservative outlets would make sense if they would say, read their Bibles. But anyways, some things are, after all, far too much to ask. See, reading their Bibles, that's a lot to ask, you know. But being able to have a channel on YouTube with a couple of people watching, when you do everything YouTube publicly asks, well, that's just kind of frustrating. Broadcast yourself. Come where everybody can make a living. A living, they said. They said a living if you work hard enough. If you commit to this, this will work for you. I think it's safe to say that I committed to this. You see, it's not a matter of what I'm right about. It's just a matter of when it comes true. I said people refuse to let me help. Then the old gateway to the underworld would open back up. Krakatoa. Swallower of souls. That's what that means. Kraka. Consumer. Toa. Spirit. I don't know what language that is. I just know when things overlap ancient language. Ancient unified language. As it was in the beginning. When every word had a soul. Well, it smells nice and lovely in here. Did I have a clip I wanted to play? I think I had a clip I wanted to play.
Use the power and the capacity you have. And what we're increasingly seeing is the United States that's not willing to do that.
Not willing to do that, and weakness, the sort of weakness shown by Donald Trump, the cowardice that he has shown, it sends a message, and you're exactly right, not just across the Middle East, not just to the Saudis, not just to the Egyptians, not just to the Jordanians, our long-time allies in the Middle East. It sends a message all across the globe, and you're right, the North Koreans are going to continue to back off on a deal really that really hasn't been given the chance to succeed. And Sam Stone.
All right, Joe, would you fucking run on sentences because you can't let anybody else fucking talk? It's really hard for me not to, like, just take back everything nice I ever said about that motherfucker. Those people are just such twits. They're just status quo perpetuating fucking morons. I tell you what, the more I get frustrated with the people that are supposed to be fucking helping, the more we're gonna have fun. You see, I had mentioned something about the Middle East, in particular Saudi Arabia, because of this question that many people were left with after 9/11. If it's Afghanis, if it's the Taliban, if it's Afghanistan, why are we invading Afghanistan when it was a bunch of Saudis that did it? And I basically said, conditionally, if I'm right about Donald Trump's involvement in 9/11, he's going to wind up, he's basically has to have some massive connections in Saudi Arabia. He's got to have some kind of alliance with the Saudis. That is directly related to the very same Saudis that Putin has been allied with this whole time. And then we found out about how Felix Sater is was not only connected with the Saudis and the Russian mob, but for some reason had direct links to Al Qaeda. Now, I also said that in order for Giuliani to be obstructing the Mueller investigation, he would have to have a certain district in New York compromised, playing ball on the bad side, if you will. And now, something very peculiar, naturally, almost completely unreported, has happened. The district in New York that Giuliani happens to be so very friendly with has sort of, maybe, possibly, threatened Cohen to keep him from talking. Isn't that fascinating? Surely they should be threatening him to get him to talk, but if Mueller says he's been talking, he's been very helpful, he's a good witness, we're not going to recommend jail time. Be nice. And then the Southern District of New York says, hey, fuck that. This guy's in a lot of trouble. More trouble than anybody's ever been in for these same crimes. Oh yeah, that's how it is. They've kind of done some things that don't make a whole lot of sense, and they've really tried to put the hammer down on Cohen for just the Stormy Daniels shit. And like I said, the Stormy Daniels shit has all been mostly meant as a distraction on the part of Trump. I shaved my candle. Try to get the wicks to burn a little slower. Anyways, the Southern District of New York could possibly be obstructing justice. There's somebody there that helped with 9/11. And they have been pulling the strings both on the scope and the timing of the different Cohen issues. Because suddenly they decide they're out for Cohen's fucking head when it looks like Mueller's gonna really step up the investigation. Now, it could be that this is just leverage for Mueller, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, that was my initial impression, but now that I think about it more and I hear just like more different lawyers, you know, Cohen's former lawyer on Beat with Ari Melber, some different opinions, some more information. And I'm starting to wonder, is he actually cooperating with Mueller and the Southern District of New York doesn't like that? And if I do recall, Giuliani used to run that office. Huh. And Giuliani used that office to try to cover up the 9/11 conspiracy. The real 9/11 conspiracy. Isn't that interesting? Anyways, they were comparing what Cohen did, basically, to other similar cases and to just criminal intent and all kinds of different shit. And made a very compelling case that they were being not just unreasonably harsh with Cohen, but outlandishly so. Yep, I don't really. I'm struggling to see my former interpretation of this data. I'm struggling to see how the District of New York, where Giuliani used to be in charge, is helping Giuliani by fucking up Cohen's deal with him. I mean, helping Mueller by fucking up Cohen's deal with him. No, it seems like they're trying to help keep the truth quiet. Kind of like by saying, this is our prisoner. Or, by, like I said, just threatening. Fake homeless people, really? Jeez. If you got nothing better to do than to pretend you're fucking homeless so you can get money without having to earn it, do yourself and the world a favor. Find your parents and your siblings. Go ahead and just throw your cousins and your grandparents in there too. Go take them to a church. Lock the doors and burn it down with them inside. Then shoot yourself in the face. Because none of you fucking people were worth the DNA that conceived you. Like, just go find your parents and ask them, just like, why did you breed? Surely you should have known that you were not worth, like, reproduction as a process. Not even the idea, just like, let alone the process. You're not worth it. This thing that I am now, that you call your child, I am not worth the space I take up. Why? Why did you bear me? No. Let's go to church. We're about to be cleansed. Oh, I get it. See, there I go again, making those jokes that, you know, condemned unpopular people like George Carlin and Louis C.K. and Christopher Titus and like comedians I see all the fucking time. Recommended. They're allowed to talk about crazy shit, mass murder and stuff, as long, you know, it's funny. Obviously in the context of a joke. Especially George Carlin, you know. But the thing is, the other thing that constantly gets recommended on YouTube is religious bigotry. That is, anti-religious bigotry. Top 10 reasons why atheists are funny and Christians are dumb. That's basically what they're fucking trying to promote. And then I just saw the algorithmic asshole come on here. As if somebody saw this broadcast, clicked on it for a second, heard me speak, and then decided I wasn't interesting. Oh yeah. I mean, the one thing if the fucking camera was facing towards the ceiling and there was nothing going on. But when I speak, people generally listen. And the idea that somebody would bother clicking on something to hear somebody speak and then hear me speak and then decide, oh no, my brain no likey. That reflects a complete ignorance of what is commonly viewed here on YouTube, what is commonly promoted here on YouTube, and a complete disparity on what I experience when I speak to people in person. But I have to appreciate YouTube for frustrating me so much for so long and allowing me to basically perfect my fucking speaking skills. Despite frustration levels, I can still maintain a train of thought because I've just been jaded to it I since I had my face stomped on by the big linebacker looking motherfucker, that hasn't really been one of my strong suits. But I have found ways to persevere and new levels of faith. Because if these cowards are this fucking terrified of me just being allowed to speak, God must really be on my side. Because they're clearly against him. Dingo. 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 Yeah, you. Stop. So yes, when the candle starts burning unevenly, just get you a little knife. Scrape the sides. Put that wax over there. A little more towards the flame. But don't get overzealous with the process, or you'll wind up putting the wicks out altogether. See if we can actually do this. Oh, that's a little more. If my phone could like not collapse into the fire, that would be cool too. So it's too muddy for a campfire outside. It seems like it has been for the past fucking 3 winters. But that's my only real complaint. It's not flooding anymore. Flooding for me is just a way to incentivize my investors. I couldn't post a video. Like, my channel is so suppressed. I couldn't post a video of myself live, like, running around murdering hookers. Like, just... Dio! Fuck you, dog. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Oh, don't look at me like that. I know, I can't even speak mean to you. Just a fucking cute piece of shit. I know, you didn't get to go outside much today at all because it was a fucking river out there. Poor baby. Stop chewing on your ass, damn it. Alright, that's enough. Anyways. I could be sitting here with a dog and a cat having a conversation in Yiddish. Talking animals. That snort coke while telling jokes in Yiddish. And then an actual cartoon Toucan Sam could burst in and arrest them, and the view count would only go up to fucking 8. You know what's really interesting? On the same day they had that weird transformer explosion in New York City, they had one in Kenner, Louisiana, right by where I used to live. Well, then again, I lived in most places in fucking Canterbury. On West Esplanade, they had a fucking transformer blew up and apparently got hit by lightning and fell over and caught the power poles on fire. So this transformer was like fucking melting, glowing, and fucking making all like a crazy light show. In Kenner too. Just about the same time, or at least on the same night, about the same time at night. You know, early in the evening. At the same time, or at the same early evening hour. I don't know how to fucking phrase this. Wild shit was going on in New York. Dum 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 dum. So, still nobody here. Very interesting. So anyway, Giuliani today was just letting out the full tilt crazy. It's really starting to be very curious why he, as a defense counsel, is willing to basically commit crimes and say just such crazy fucking things. I mean, he's basically engaging in obstruction of justice, intimidation tactics, possible racketeering. Trying to help cover up a crime, and then setting himself up, kind of volunteering himself, indirectly, but he should know because he's the lawyer, setting himself up to be a witness in the case against Donald Trump. This asshole actually said, I know Trump didn't do that because I'm with him almost all of the time. Really? When does your fucking lawyer say that? Like, who says that but a co-conspirator? Oh, and there's the one viewer came on for just the same exact amount of time just then. So I probably got some more fucking fake negative likes or whatever. The whole reason they do that is part of the fucking data cover-up. They have to manipulate the data to make it look like they're not criminally conspiring against American citizens. No, see here on the record, it just shows that people were logging on and weren't interested. Yeah. Weren't interested in the most accurate prophetic insight to grace this planet for centuries. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but that is the objective truth about this channel. And toot toot, motherfuckers. I can kid, can I? Am I allowed to make jokes? Oh yeah, that's right. Me making jokes is against your rules, and I'm supposed to abide by your rules while you completely fucking disregard all of mine. Anyone who didn't know I was going to be angry when I came back is a fucking idiot. People who fell for the lie of conservatism. See, just to continue about conservatism. Starting with Pat Buchanan. What are Pat Buchanan and Newt Gingrich and Ken Starr all have in common? They all have that same kind of what's his name? The guy that tapped his shoes in the airport. They all kind of have that little grin to them. You know, like Kevin Spacey. They all kind of have that kind of Kevin Spacey smirk. They're all a bunch of fucking Satanist pedophiles acting like moral leaders. And just one takes the left side, Kevin Spacey, one takes the right side, Ken Starr. And it's those dark skeletons in their closet that make them so committed in their efforts to push the corruption. That's what it's about, the ultimate corruption of Christianity. On the one hand, you got to have people acting like hypocrites and appalling assholes in the name of self-righteousness. Of course, they say it's in the name of God, but anyone with half a mind to perceive can see it's in the name of self-righteousness. Oh, welcome, actual viewer. Thanks for dropping by. I was just saying, you know, I could basically be butt-raping Smurfette on a live stream right here. I could have found an interdimensional way to have sex with an inanimate cartoon character. And I could have, like a platypus and an aardvark passing a joint and snorting lines while speaking Yiddish to each other. and I would still not get any viewers, basically. So there would, be nothing left to do. But, tell the aardvark to pass me the joint. No, Google works for the Russians, and the Russians work for Satan, and Satan is, well, he's not a very good son. Then again, he's not my son. His mom just thought he was. Now, you'd have to be a really educated, let-in-the-know sort of esoteric mystic to know who it is that can fucking know that story. But then again, you just have to be not an idiot to know who it is that can know all the other things I know. The whole esoteric secret things, that's just, indulgent further truth. But Mars, the god of war, the god of deception, the pseudo-god, the one who tricked Lucifer into rebelling. Ah, another part of the little-known story. Lucifer, being pride itself, had more claim to the throne than his younger brother, the younger brother at the time being the inheritor. But his younger brother was the result of the rape of a corpse from a divorced wife named Hathor. Chaza, the Khazarian goddess. Ishtar, the murderer of Isis, the true goddess. The usurper, Kali, Kalisti, Satan's mother. Attempted to rape the corpse of Osiris before he was ever even in the underworld. Well, that time anyways. The time that you know of. And for those of you who have taught you for those of you who have been taught, I can use my words, that the entire Egyptian pantheon is the whole, devil's work and shit. Those people told you that Anubis was a jackal, when there's an obvious thing called a pharaoh hound that is actually a very loyal guards dog, used even in Germany. So if I can prove those people are liars, I suppose the rest of my truth should still be heard. Not that there's anything wrong with jackals. I think they're adorable, personally. They do, however, eat their own children. But lots of animals in nature do. Humans used to, before Christianity came along. But the atheists want to abolish it, as if religion never served a purpose. Humans used to kill each other for sport. What made those people worthy of killing? Well, they were a conquered people. They were weaker people. They were not as people as your people. I keep trying to read the comments in time, damn it. Okay, God. Oh, camera was getting a little warm. Atheists don't bother anyone. It's funny. They've been bothering the children of America for generations. They've killed millions of Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't realize that the Soviet Union was atheist. You don't realize that Mao was an atheist. Pol Pot, atheist. Atheists like to focus on the Crusades as if they were something wrong. But they never realize what a butcher Muhammad was. You see, Muhammad had conquered half of the world. And the Christians tried to take back a couple of cities. And they're the evil ones? No, those people lied to you. Just as those who told you Anubis was a jackal. Hitler, Stalin, Lenin, atheists. You see, the unknown truth about atheists is that there's two types of atheists. There's the naive sheep that get told the lies that you've been told. And then there's the Satanists who actually know that God exists and just hate him as they hate humanity itself and themselves. You see, the root of hating God is hating your own existence. And there are plenty of people who get propagandized to the point where they simply blame God for everything. Despite the fact that last I checked, I gave you something called free will. And it is in fact free will that causes things to come crumbling down around you. Your willingness to cheat others out of what is fair. You steal from each other, kill each other, take no compassion on each other, lie to each other, lie to your families, lie to your wives, lie to your children, lie to your parents, even in old age. And when it all comes crashing down on you, you say, why, God, could you let this happen? And that's because you've given yourself a definition of God that is unattainable. You've set up a false God for yourself that is based on a fantasy. You've never considered what it means to be God's children, created in his image, male and female. First, you must consider what that simply means. Does it mean that God is a human? Then what would that mean about the potential of a human? That it is limitless. And that is the very truth that all of Satan's lies are designed to keep you from. your connection with God as his very children. Biologically, genetically, descendant, children. And through that connection, your ultimate potential to ascend to the stars and become them yourselves. Many of your ancestors are already there. That's why you have stars to look up at. But you think it's all just random bits of an explosion that somehow had the balls to form balls. Don't mistake me for somebody who doesn't understand science. In all the schools I went to, I never failed to be the curve setter in every science class I had. And there aren't many fields of science I haven't studied extensively. And in fact, I'd very much like to debate someone as to some particular aspects of particle physics, because I don't think particles are really necessary for quantum mechanics to work. And in fact, I think a lot of the things that don't work about quantum mechanics are the result of the misperception that particles exist because of the way a waveform is resolved in perception. It resolves as a point. That point is perceived as a particle, when in fact, before it was resolved, it existed as a wave, not a particle. So the very idea that light is a particle, that anything really is a particle, is preposterous. But anyways, I didn't think this was a scientific discussion. I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not one of them people who doesn't believe in global warming. In fact, I've made several cases to Australian Great Barrier Reef scientists that seem to catch on, including the fact that corals aren't just succumbing to temperature differences. Including an exact rebuttal of why their test results were coming out inaccurate, leading them to believe that there was less nitrates and phosphates in those waters than actually were. And also pointing out that they had video evidence right in front of them, even though apparently they didn't detect it on their instruments, that there was a salinity change right before those bleaching events on the, the Chasing Corals movie. I also gave some very dire warnings about how cyanobacteria could cause a massive mammalian extinction should we continue to just fill the oceans with shit. And right after I spent several months doing that, then we had a massive worldwide wave of red tides. And of course, this happened after the Australian scientists largely stopped listening to me because they didn't think red tides could have such a calamitous effect. Well, wait and see, little puppies. I guess these same people don't think that Krakatoa could destroy Russia the same way it destroyed Australia 4,800 years ago. But there's this thing in the Bible, right after a whole bunch of stuff that clearly just came true. And there's one part where it says a walnut is cast. And that, to me, might be a good place where Ayers Rock originated. Before, of course, a couple thousands of years of tidal events covered up the crater and caused the Central Australian desert to form. But I suppose that theory's based far too much on my human ability to speculate with my brain. But I'm piecing together memories as best I can. And it all lines up to the rephrasing in this particular part of the book of Revelation that is, I have it bookmarked here. (18:6). And I have very clearly identified that not only has Russian propaganda been out to set America and the Catholic Church as the prophesied whore of Babylon, but that they've done so because they're obviously the whore of Babylon themselves. And every ounce of traceable history and everything you can find proves this. All the way back to the Scythians, who were the masters of Babylon, the city. Krakatoa has formed a little mini Krakatoa. It's not going to be sedimentary rock blasting out of the ground this time. It's going to be recently formed rock. No, not a loogie, a rock. And in Revelation 18, the final destruction of the whore of Babylon comes. That is, the nation to the north that sits upon many waters that rules with hunger and with the sword. Where one finds gold and frankincense and scarlet and slaves and precious gems and oils, and all nations go a-whoring after her. Oh, when that Cold War ended, when that Berlin Wall fell, they just couldn't wait to get a piece of Russia, could they? Opulence. Everybody wanted to get themselves a little tiny giraffe. Oh, yeah. Mwah. I'll admit, even I wanted a tiny giraffe. I mean, who doesn't want a tiny giraffe? Oh, you had your little reformation of Israel prophecy. But nobody could narrow down the 20 years of silence before the defiler. The time in which Christianity would become the problem. I could see why a bunch of pastors wouldn't have done much good figuring out what's wrong with their own house, huh? They always like to talk about how dirty other people's houses are. "20 years of silence. 20 years of lukewarmness. 20 years of hypocrisy. 20 years of the propagandization and mental enslavement of the church. Before the time of wrath. Oh. Good morning. Shift change? There's some overlapping 20-year periods of silence. For instance, 1991. To 2011. Many might say it's when the old Cold War ended and then the new Cold War began. But see, we didn't realize it until 2016. Which is 20 years after Fox News came around. On the 20 years of silence, 20 years of complacency of the church, in which the church itself has been misled. And they become the hypocrites that allow the armies of the whore of Babylon and of the Antichrist to consume the world. And they get caught for it. And then, as it is commanded, those righteous that are left, those that catch them, reward them for all their deceit and for their corruption of kings and religions and nations, for their corruption of businesses and educational institutions and charities. Reward them for this that they have done. Doubly. And you can be damn rest assured that the people who wrote that at the time, who were thinking of the horde and of the Scythians to the north, those who made and broke kings, those who rented entire armies of slaves, they didn't think those people would sit idly by. So the fact that Putin's talking about his missiles and hackers are possibly blowing up transformers, I don't know. Whatever you fuckers are up to. Don't take comfort in it. You have taken part in God's plan up until this point, and because of your stubbornness, arrogance, and refusal to repent, you will see it played out to its end. Google 666. You're the good guys, right? Atheism has nothing to do with brainwashed morons who are basically controlled by Satanists and possibly demons. And that's why they just happen to make their logo a multicolored series of 3 sixes. Because that's what people who think religion is meaningless would do. They would put 666 in their logo. People who have nothing to do with religion. People who aren't in any way associated with an anti-religious agenda. Nothing to do with Satanism. And they'd just make their corporate logo 666. Look at the logo. It's fucking 3 sixes. With a G in the middle. Because, you know, that doesn't represent anything. And while we're at it, the Horde used to be called the 1,000-Year Horde. They like to call themselves the Million-Man Army. Let me just make it clear that it's nothing to do with Legion. Surely the uses of those two references that can only be connected through intensely enlightened understanding of the occult. They only managed to become the Google name and logo by coincidence. Especially when you consider the Greek roots of the Scythian Empire and the Scythian roots of the Horde. But then, the person paid to watch right now might not be aware that Genghis Khan was a slave child. Or that Kublai Khan was all as powerful as maybe Nur Sultan is today. Oh yeah, Nur Sultan. Big, powerful guy. And he's got a daughter named Jasmine, and if you find a magic lamp, you get to marry her. Whatever these underwear my wife bought me, there's just not enough room for my balls in them. I don't know how else to explain it. I can't sit right. Just feel like I'm being frisked by one of those charming New Orleans police officers who moonlights as a male stripper. Joey. So, Brian, is it? You still here, Brian? I thought I saw a different name pop up. That's why I made the joke about the shift change. Anyways. But as I was saying, Joey, I could be live streaming just after having made a deal with Gargamel himself and have successfully snuck up on the Smurf village in the woods, where, you know, in the little magical forest or whatever. Okay. Yeah, it just happens to be in Louisiana, because I mean, you know, Gargamel does kind of look like a coon ass. I'm just saying. And Papa Smurf, that, you know, that's old Cajun, if I ever saw one. Anyway, so if I was live streaming right as I snuck up on the Smurf village, and all the Smurfs had gotten some moonshine from Gargamel, and they all had Smurfette tied up and were gang raping her, and then Azrael the cat came in and fucking had her ass too, I still wouldn't actually get any viewers. Not only have I found real Smurfs, but you've got evil cat gang rape. And then, like, aliens come and just abduct them all. Still no viewers. Nope, still no viewers. I could have a kitten so cute that I put a little leash on it and took it around town, and as people saw it, they actually exploded in place. Just guts and fucking hair and teeth and eyeballs everywhere. Okay. Oh, look at the cute little just over and over again. Just live streaming it. No viewers. No viewers. I could be walking on water and pulling trout out of my ass, like. Jack off, come a loaf of bread. breathe fire on it. Oh, look, it's baked. That's never really been my thing. That was her. It's plain and simple. That was her. Sorry. If you're waiting for somebody with a beard to do that, you'll be waiting a long time. Men can't create life. I thought that was obvious. They don't create life, they fertilize it. They make life interesting. When it all comes down to it, Hathor isn't the destroyer anymore because it was never in her nature to begin with. It wasn't what she originally wanted. The bitterness of defeat. But I made her see that that was her choices that led to that. And now the battery's dead. Oh, for fuck's sake. Really? Anyways. So how's it going at Honda, Joey? Or are you driving right now? If you're driving, don't bother. Text me later. Let me know how's it going. How it's going up there. Even if I don't reply to you, I still read your messages. I get frustrated because I can't fucking reply. Then I'll just stop trying. Okay. My dad hasn't come out here yet because he's still got more famous people he wants to meet. he's working at some little convention center thing, or I don't know. But he's an usher. Like it's like his little retirement gig where he just, you know, gets to see free shows and shit, basically. But anyway, so he's gonna be coming out here after that. And hopefully I'll have one investor before that. That's what I want for my birthday. Just pray that I get that for my birthday. But like, basically, I've got a pretty clear path to making 800 grand in the first year. Okay? And this is because once the deal is done, I basically have a sales army waiting to go. There are people that I went to high school with who work at this real estate office. And I've already bonded with the people who are from around here because my mom is from Simsport, and there's some certain phrases that only people around here use, and a certain accent and manner of speaking that makes you familiar. Okay? And I bonded with a couple of them people on that level. And then I got a couple other people interested in just a flood-proof building thing. And one thing that's been on my mind lately is creating a sense of urgency. And it flooded today. Hoping it didn't do too much damage, but it's a nice little reminder of the danger that we're constantly in when the ground is just saturated for so much of the year lately. And this isn't the only place where it seems like the 500-year floods are coming every year. So anyways, the plan is to take that money and to reinvest it directly into expansion. And it's reasonable to expect about like a $21 million a year regional gross profit. Especially if I, get a deal with more than one real estate office. Uh, Basically, like, let them do the listings, Like, I got no problem with that. That way I don't have to do it in-house. And we can, do it by contract so we're not locked into it forever, I'm going to do everything by contract. Kira is my legal department. But, we're going to do Morris Motors or something like that. Once I find someone else to start the franchise around here. But I'm not. Unless I can buy out my friend Steve, which may happen. If his wife has anything to say about it. I would let him run my shop in a fucking heartbeat, because he's the best Honda swap guy ever. Yeah, ever. I mean, he's got 742 horsepower S2000s. 742 horsepower. Not a twin stage. Just one big fucking turbo. He had done the twin stages, he said. But he gets better quarter-mile times with just the one big turbo. And this guy built 10-second Civics fucking 15 years ago, so. Like street modified class too, not even like tube frame shit. Seeing those things sitting in the shop in person is kind of cool. Like halfway torn apart, still with the giant fucking tires hanging out of them, But that's not really what I want to do with the shop, But what I do want to do isn't that hard. It's just a matter of making up the standards to do it. So what I'll do is I'm going to be focused more on when I hire people. I'm going to be hiring people to type up legal paperwork and employee manuals and business proposals and bank loan applications and shit like that. And then from there I can cast a wider net, and instead of trying to get extremely skilled people, focus more on getting people I can trust. You know what I mean? And if both line up, all the merrier. But if I got people helping me type shit up and research and compile shit, they should eventually learn to work with me better and better and become more efficient, and with my direction able to create extensive best practices documentation for all the businesses I'm trying to start. And every day that goes by, I'm thinking of a better way to proceed and how to incorporate maybe another business that might be needed. But the first steps of the plan are pretty fucking clear. Because, you know, as bad as I want a cell phone that I can use, the coastal restoration thing is much more important. So we're going to be focused entirely on making for-profit companies that can provide that charity with revenue, basically. And I don't know if you saw, who's there now? Joey probably left. Who's there now? I see somebody else put a like on there. Joey said he had to go to work. I'll be sitting there still talking to Joey if he's gone to work and that's somebody else joined me. I see I got another like on there. Thank you, whoever liked, even if it was Joey still driving in the car and like, no, it's still me, dumbass. The other person just came in to like and then left. So just being nice. That's nice. I like to be nice too. Yep, Joey's driving. Yeah, I kind of felt you laughing at that one. Oh, my laughter is at an end because I just noticed my coffee cup is empty. Well, virtually empty. Just a limited number of tiny sips left. Oh. Anyways, so the video earlier, well, both the videos earlier are fucking worth watching. I'm sorry to put out so much good material, but I was kind of demonstrating, I know you can't see the screen now, like a triangular approach to establishing two different businesses. In a way that prevents the two different main people I'm trying to work with from butting heads. And giving an ownership structure that is conducive to eventual buyout from a charitable entity, okay, for the purposes of purpose-related investment. So we can have investment into those companies that's tax-free as long as it's going into something that's designed for charity. Or we're trying to design something for charity, we need money to prototype it, that kind of thing. We need to do research on this to test its viability, that kind of thing. We want to give a bunch of these to these people, that kind of thing. And then that, you know, like that, I hate to say it, but that's a good way to get free publicity too. because it's tax-free publicity, not necessarily free publicity. You're paying to do something good when you're building homes for veterans, okay? But that's visibility, and that's permanent advertising. You know, it's pretty effective. Anyway, why is my phone not charging? It's a little prick. That's why. Okay, now it's charging. I had to adjust my Gorilla Tape. You got one of them cheap ass iPhone SEs with that little charger that doesn't like to stay plugged in. Just get a fucking Gorilla Tape and wrap it around the back of that charging strip. Just make sure you get it nice and tense. Mine wasn't tense enough. I keep wiggling it back in place and wiggling it back in place, and now I just decided to unstick the Gorilla Tape, and hopefully it'll stay stuck. Fascinating, I know. Anyway, so I have the division set up to where there's a parent company, a sales and acquisitions company, okay, and a construction company. So the parent company is sort of a hands-off consulting kind of thing, and that's where my ownership comes in, and eventually the charity's ownership. And then I also have it set up to where each one of those CEOs of those two independent companies or subsidiaries owns 2% of the other company, so that the combined interest becomes a controlling vote. So no one person has control over the company, but two get to outvote three. And that's how I'm going to give just extra assurance to investors, extra independence to CEOs, and so on and so forth. So we're going to start it out small, and then have the 501c3 basically buy part of the company. Well, the part that I own, the parent company. So, gonna need a very knowledgeable accountant, lawyer, that type of thing. But if I want to say open up a shop just to donate cars to single mothers or veterans, I should be able to basically use the charity to do that. then if that charity owns that shop, the revenue from that shop goes to funding further charitable stuff. Now, conversely, if the charity owns part of that shop, then the CEO of the shop owns the other part. That way they get paid for their work, and the charity gets paid for their investment. So, anyways. So Joey, at the very least, I'm hoping I can like pay for y'all to take a trip down here or something. Because Louisiana isn't all that horrible. I live in a bad spot, but yeah. The other side of the road doesn't flood, fuck. It's just this side, because it goes downhill, right in between two creeks. And then further down along the creeks, other places flood. But most people in those areas have their houses up high. Not here on this other street back here, though. They got hit hard by that other flood, and they might have got hit this last time again. But I'm hoping to help solve that problem and be able to make enough money selling houses at pretty reasonable prices. I mean, these houses should go for more than what the former property used to, you know, like they should go for a lot more, but we're going to keep it down to where the value was at before it flooded. And then, you know, if the demand goes up and we're having trouble keeping up with it, then the prices will have to go up so we can expand. But we got a pretty good margin with this modular process I've designed. And I've looked up other modular building processes. They're just spending way too much money. Just way too much. There's better ways of doing things to come up with much better products. But that's what happens when a rich asshole starts a business, as opposed to somebody who's done everything from the bottom up. Anyways. I'd like to get to the point where I can talk about the specifics of the designs more once I get whatever patents I can that apply. But it's been all about making the installation and the construction easier and quicker, so the labor cost goes down because of the increased materials cost, because of the enhanced design, the flood proof, and the extra layers involved in that. I mean, These aren't unidirectionally floodproof. These are designed to be hit by a fucking massive wave and then boop, bob back up. I can't wait to have like a testing area, you know? Anyways. La 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 la. Get her, Azrael. La 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 la, gang raping's perfect. I could be sitting here smoking a blunt with Snoop Dogg. And the ghost of Johnny Cash. And Alf. We could just be passing around a big fat one, telling stories about how we were all abducted as children by aliens. And YouTube still wouldn't let me get any fucking views. I could have found a real fucking unicorn. Not a rhinoceros, like the actual sane people in the Bible believe, but a horse with a horn on its head, like atheists seem to think that people actually wrote about. Yep, I could find an actual unicorn. And it could just be having me bent over a fence post outside, fucking me up the ass. Making me sing Spoonful of Sugar until I bleed to death. It's a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Medicine go down. Wilbur. Still no views. Still no views. It would just be the same people that have fucking macheted their way through the weeds to get here. And then the occasional rebellious troll just getting curious and clicking. I will now pretend to be a normal person. Hello, I am American. I am in Chicago. Yes. Seabucks rule. Dingo. Dingo. Shit. Ow. I'll be back just 1 second. All right. I've restored some actual current to my fish tanks. Sorry about that. I saw the stagnation in the top of the tank and had to do something about it. And ooh, it's quite a big difference when your pumps aren't entirely clogged with algae. I've been focused a lot on my designs and plans lately and just been kind of looking at my fish tanks and saying, fuck it. And then I make the excuse of, well, people tend to have the fear of fish tanks as if they're not something you're allowed to say fuck it regarding. My tanks do pretty well with long periods of fuck it. Just not taking any considerable time that could be considered or mistaken for a responsible level of caretakership. No. I mean, I got them disease free. I'm not adding fish to the tank. I'm not putting anything new in there. I've lost a couple of corals, lost track of a couple of corals. But I'm also spending next to no money on this right now. Because I have next to no money. if you think cigarettes are enough to make somebody go broke, I probably spend less on cigarettes than most people do on their car notes. So at the very least, I make sure I have things balanced out. And with my stress issues, no. It's like I want to ram that person off the road for cutting me off. I don't want to ram that person off the road for cutting me off. It's almost magical. But not really. So anyways. Suppose I'm just going to keep the Hangout open for a while. Glad I could make whoever it was that gave me the third like giggle a bit before I got distracted cleaning my fish tank. Zero people watching. I could have built a life-size replica, functioning, a working model of the boat plane from DuckTales. And the big airship that the bad guys had. And I could just fucking crash them into each other. Right in the middle of an active volcano. And I still wouldn't get any fucking views on YouTube. I could have created a spaceship out of octopus DNA. That's capable of becoming completely invisible to infrared and the human eye and every possible method of detection. And my octopus spaceship could have the ability to give 15,000 women simultaneous orgasms. On up to 23 different planets. And I could be live streaming this from my octopus spaceship. And it still wouldn't get me any fucking views on YouTube. I could have Jimmy Hoffa's body tied up, sitting in a chair, covered in chocolate syrup and sliced pickles. With a thawed-out velociraptor and a push-me-pull-you just beating the shit out of each other in the background. While platypus babies nibble away at Jimmy Hoffa's body from the toes up. And it still wouldn't get any fucking views on YouTube. These are fun, I like them. I'm using my imagination muscle. That's the one right below your balls. I mean, what? I could have discovered that if you apply a certain electronic frequency with subdermal probes to the human appendix, that you summon an ancient aquatic elephant species that has a secret civilization at the depths of the Pacific Ocean. And when you do this, they come and they give you a big colorful beak and wings. And I could be flapping around on a live stream. Look at what the underwater elephants did to me. And it still wouldn't get any fucking views on YouTube. Now, Frank could do a special. He'd get fucking 5 million views in a month. True facts about the underwater elephant. Here we have Bubbaluffagus. Bubbaluffagus takes it up the ass on Tuesdays. I don't know. Let's talk about his penis. Now, but then on my video, where I had the actual Bubbaluffagus turn me into a goon, and I'm flapping around with my beak, saying, "Look at me, I'm a squid," I'd still get no views. Oh, but Frank made true facts about the Bubbaluffagus. Surely because of keywording and algorithms and stuff, you know, the person that found the Bubbaluffagus should... Nope, still no views. I don't know what this means, but I really have the urge to say it. Fuck your Bubbaluffagus. I could be fucking a Bubbaluffagus. Still no fucking views. Poor Bubbaluffagus. Hashtag Bubbaluffagus problems. Hashtag Bubbaluffagus lives matter. Hashtag Bubbaluffagus sneezes splatter. What? Why is my stomach growling? Stupid human metabolism. Trying to power up my brain. Don't have enough nutrients in my system to do it. Well, it looks like no one's feeling too chatty tonight. And I see that another random shill channel has made an MSNBC live stream. So I'm going to go watch that since, nobody wants to do anything about it. And I'm fucking too poor to have cable since, I'm being fucked over because I could have a talking clownfish with freaking lasers on its head. And it could just be sitting there luring the cat with the laser on the wall and then zapping it with a fucking high intensity beam once it gets in range. I just have that on the live stream. And the ghost of Rodney Dangerfield could be here as the genie from Aladdin's impersonation of him, sitting on my couch, watching this clownfish tell jokes and zap cats. And you just be sitting on my couch chuckling, watching cats explode. Blue attached to the bottle. Still no fucking views on YouTube. Meanwhile, let's just see here. No, nothing, just top 10 comedians on religion. The logic of atheism, none of that, no? It's funny how I can say something about it on here and then it doesn't show up on a completely different account. That's not refreshing. Still not refreshing. Ain't that a bitch? What do I gotta get this shit to do? Fucking refresh. Oh, there we go. Nope, nothing weird this time. But you see, while you do get the occasional bombardment of anti-religious propaganda, religious persecution, basically, systematic religious persecution that is promoted in tandem with all of the other anti-American efforts for some reason. Never, ever have I gotten a single recommendation of a Christian centrist trying to point out the hypocrisy of Trumpistanism. This cannot be the case unless Google is complicit here. And whatever the hell the conservatives are saying about Google was obviously coordinated with them as cover for what they've really been up to. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to click the like button and make sure you subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Just, I say that just in case one day in the future these videos actually have viewers and people actually go through them to see all the shit that people really shouldn't miss. And all I can do is apologize for the lack of teleprompting and programming and choreography here, but those things require budgeting and, at the very least, help and success and some sort of motivational factor. I can only do so much when they wear me down the way they have, and, well, the point is that I don't go on here without something new being realized or revealed, so whoever bears with it, hope it serves you well, and I appreciate it. Later, y'all. Peace.